Turkey is actually one of the most interesting countries when it comes to e-commerce.
Dutch consumer group accuses Amazon and Bol is actually the market leader in the Netherlands, as Pablo said earlier, of fake discounts.
The regulators need to be very conscious about who is and who is not, because who is not is getting uncompetitive.
TikTok Shop Plus is TikTok's answer to Amazon Prime. What do you think, Pablo? How are you, Pablo? Good to have you back after one deserved week off.
Yes, thank you. And thanks to Danny for covering up. Definitely, he's much wiser than me. So I guess it was much more meat than with me on the show, no?
Well, he was here while you were still celebrating the World Cup victory of the Spanish national team.
I had a big hangover for that, yeah.
I can imagine. No, Danny was here. We had 1 week where we talked. We went much deeper into Amazon topics because, as you know, as a former Amazonian, he is very passionate about it.
He's an expert,
but it was fun. Okay, I guess we have this week, differently from last week. We have a couple of fresh news that are. Let's say, coming from geographies that we haven't touched. So one is about the Netherlands, a rather small e-commerce market in terms of absolute size, but in terms of relative size, I would say is one of the most advanced in Europe in terms of
very competitive with big local players. Yes.
Yeah.
Bol.com.
One of the very few ones where Amazon entered without being a leader at first, and it's not yet. And then we have another interesting news about this duality, TikTok Shop versus Amazon. That I think it's extremely interesting. And with TikTok doing some steps into an unknown territory, the one of Prime membership. But we'll talk it in a while.
Can I give you a reel now here, Luca?
Yeah.
It's just coming to my head. Otherwise, you will go. So you mentioned the Netherlands, and I believe that there is a very interesting fact that is happening in several countries of Europe. I've been having the pleasure to launch 6 markets of Europe, helping from the European side to our local countries on Procter & Gamble, and I remember the situations perfectly. One of them, it was the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, it was a big local player, Bol.com. So for Amazon, it was not kind of like this nice ride entering and just conquesting right away. But there are other 2 cases very interesting in Europe particularities, the wonderful Europe. So one of them is Poland. And in Poland, it was a strong local player, Allegro. And now it has expanded to several other countries, including Germany. So for Amazon, it was complicated. And the other complicated marketplace for Amazon, it was Turkey. Turkey being one of the most developed e-commerce markets in Europe. It has big local players, the local jewel Hepsi Burada, very similar than Amazon, leading for most of the time. And then it came this half Chinese, because it belongs to Alibaba Group, called Trendyol.
Yeah.
That introduced social commerce heavily there. So Turkey is actually one of the most interesting countries when it comes to e-commerce. So please pay attention to Turkey. The Turkey situation is normally so in the rest of Europe what is about to happen there.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I would say, hard challenges for any international brand due to the currency situation, that it's one of the most unstable globally. But yeah. For me, it was also one of the funniest and most interesting markets when I was working in Dubai. In terms of the e-commerce penetration, unexpectedly, this is one of the leading countries in Europe.
I remember I learned things, so it was a learning market for me. So in other markets, I went there and I was able to help people. In Turkey, I came with a lot of learning, so I was always learning there. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Also on the Amazon side, I remember my counterparts in Amazon. They were much more humble, I would say, the ones who were working in Turkey, because they had lot to learn and a long way to go to achieve the leadership.
Yeah.
That they.
Amazon Turkey became very humble because they are not leading. They have a very small percentage of the e-commerce market there. So, but they are improving a lot. They are improving a lot since Amazon start to include into their subscriptions Amazon Prime Video, Prime Music, of course free delivery, but all these other several kind of like benefits of being a Prime member. This is when they start to get an edge in these complicated markets versus the other players.
Yeah. Oh, let's go with the news. We talked about how beautiful Europe is, I think our friends working for Amazon are not so happy about it. They will not consider Europe as beautiful after reading this news from the Dutch consumer group. Here it is. Yeah. So as usual, I'll read it first, just a few comments on it, and then I'll ask your opinion, Pablo. So Dutch consumer group accuses Amazon and Bol is actually the market leader in the Netherlands, as Pablo said earlier, of fake discounts, which is a very hot topic, usually mostly in Q4. So in the hot time of the year surrounding Black Friday, interesting news in the summertime in Europe. So the two largest marketplaces in the Netherlands have been sent a cease and desist letter over the way they display discounts. The letter did not come from a regulator. It came from the Consumentenbond. Hopefully I pronounced it well. The Dutch Consumers Association, so it's a private membership organization with no power to fine anybody. However, this association says it will take legal steps if Amazon and Bol do not change their practice. Both companies disputed the findings. Actually, this letter comes from a test where this association judged non-compliant 46 out of 113 discounts claimed on the platform. This research, that is pretty recent, is from last week, tracked 1,142 popular product over 2 months. So, I mean, not a massive, let's say, database, but I would say a pretty relevant one. And what was found basically is that around 41% of the offers in Amazon and 30% of the offers in Bol were actually over claiming their discounts. How do you see this news, Pablo? I mean, this is not a news, I would say.
We should provide a little bit more context for the European viewers and the non-European viewers. So in Europe, the European Union loves to place laws there, right? So you said at the beginning, so the wonderful Europe is wonderful for many things, but then it is extremely strict on regulations and compliance and all these things. So, okay, so it was once this consumer regulation that it was called Omnibus, because it was an omnibus law that came with other things, but this was included. So, but then in the streets, people know this rule about Omnibus rule. So this Omnibus rule was basically forcing retailers, and particularly online retailers, but all retailers, to be only able to claim a discount on products versus the lowest price in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay. And you think, okay, that's a little bit twisted. What does it mean? Okay. Basically, before, imagine you had a product that cost, so the let's say the regular price is 100 euros. And then it has been discounted like 10 days over a month to 80 euros. And then it was this deeper discount punctually that was to 75 euros. What retailers were doing, it was basically claiming 75 euros is current price versus previous 100 euros.
So 25% off.
25% discount. Yeah. However, this regulation is saying if it has been for 10 days at 80 euros, you should only be able to claim the 5 euro discount from 75 to 80. Right? So this was called Omnibus, and this was great for shoppers. I mean, me as a shopper, I perfectly understand. I don't want to be tricked. Now these days with all these AI price comparison sites, it's very difficult to get tricked. But still, most of the people do not pay attention to these things, and I believe it's fair that people have full information on their site. No, so now. It has always been played. So this rule has always been played on the red line, no? So you know, if you just step an inch above, you are non-compliant. But if you stay there, you are still compliant, no? So and I understand on this playing in the line, there is still actually non-playing in the line. So being one inch above, and Amazon and Bol.com and many other players, because this is getting competitive. So if one does, the other needs to do, and the regulators need to be very very conscious about who is and who is not, because who is not is getting uncompetitive. So it's that hard. Okay, and we saw on our time in Procter & Gamble that this regulation was being applied slightly different country by country, and one of the toughest countries was Italy. So in Italy, Omnibus regulation was really strictly applied since the beginning, while in other countries right? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Right.
I remember. It was a revolution in a way. I mean, back then I was not in Italy, but I remember talking with the former colleagues that were going crazy after it, because you would see deals in Black Fridays in some retailers that are like 3 or 4% off, simply because that specific product maybe 28 days earlier was discounted to a similar percentage. So
And this goes around one psychological trick. So that's another hot topic. Like, okay, shoppers love to buy products on discount.
yeah,
So actually, there are many studies about this. So if they see a 25-30% discount, they are more willing to buy than if they buy at the same price, it might be 75 euros, but they only see a 5% discount. So the attraction to buy with a 5% discount, even though the same final price 75, is much lower than if they see a 25% discount. That is a fact, is shopper psychology. It has been proven all around, which means that if because of Omnibus, then suddenly the discounted prices are 5%, what happens is that people is less willing to buy. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's super bad for retailers, it's super bad for brands, and that's an impact that it's also happening. And in Italy, I remember this minus 3% discount, minus 5% discount. It happened on a Prime Day, on a Black Friday, and we saw massive decline on sales. But not only us, the category. So Amazon was super scared, like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in Italy this Omnibus rule that, if I'm not mistaken, it came out in the spring of 2022. In Italy, was seen as a measure against Amazon only, because actually, I mean, in Italy, in the e-commerce world, Amazon is by far the market leader. So it was seen as a way to limit this, the massive claim discounts that Amazon and brands on Amazon were doing during peak events. So
when actually it's not only for Amazon.
yeah, of course, it's a European law. By the way, I mean, this research done and this letter sent by the Consumer Association in the Netherlands comes from basically they're calling out for the application of a European law, not even a Dutch law. That's why we believe this news is relevant, because
for me, this news is stating that playing a little bit outside of this red line of Omnibus, it's still happening, and this is just one consumer association in one country, but this is happening all across. So, I mean, we as Europeans, we should be deciding, okay, shall we go strict with the law and then we apply that or not? But applying it or not applying is making some players competitive or uncompetitive. So we should be playing fair. And I mean, retailers are still playing outside of the line 40% of the times, or 30-40% of the times, as the consumer study was saying.
And I also believe, so as you said correctly earlier, the only ones to benefit from this law back then were consumers. I think this was very disruptive in 2022. Now, fast forward to 2026, consumers have many more tools available to actually track the real prices of the product. So if in 2022, we as operators in the e-commerce environment were among the only ones who had the price trackers installed in our Google Chrome, this was something like just for real experts. Today, Alexa for shopping on the Amazon app or website gives everybody, literally any shopper on Amazon, the opportunity of tracking the price history of a product. So
let me give you one piece of news. I'm scouting products yesterday. I found out that now this feature in Alexa for shopping of tracking the price evolution of a product for the last 30 or 90 days, it was already available, but you need to go to Alexa. Now they are testing a button right beside the price. You just click and you see the price evolution. So, and this is Amazon. It's not Keepa. It's not an app. It's Amazon AI basically telling you or giving you just 1 centimeter distance from you to click and see the full price evolution of the product. So I believe with that measures, you can protect the shopper much more than with regulations that retailers and brands go kind of like playing it on the red line. Just to be absolutely, I mean, that's my opinion. And then it's super important also, we mentioned about the importance of Omnibus on peak events. I believe promoting on peak events on Amazon, it's an art. Okay, and you need to make sure that you do that incrementally. So you need to bring incremental profit and incremental revenue and incremental long-term sales. And this is extremely difficult. Okay. And for that, I mean, we spend a lot of time and resources into explaining our students in the academy how to play profitably and long-term thinking on peak events. In fact, for our viewers now, we can have our free playbook of how to play peak events here down there in the description. So you can download that and you can know some of our tricks. But definitely, we know how to play this. For that, you need portfolio. For that, you need long-term thinking and you need great product. So if you have these three things, download the playbook. And if you are interested, contact us because we can help you understand Omnibus and put Omnibus in the equation and still win.
Yep. Cool. I think we can move to the other piece of news that to me is even more interesting of this one, because it might sound small, but I see TikTok Shop making an historical move into the Amazon's territory. Here's what happened very recently. TikTok Shop Plus is TikTok's answer to Amazon Prime. A $6 to $15 test in the US. So basically, what happened last week? This is as fresh as this news is. Business Insider reported that TikTok is trying 3 price points at $6, $10, or $15 a month of membership program, very similar to the Prime membership that made Amazon so successful. This program is called TikTok Shop Plus, and the price it is testing tops out within a cent of Amazon's Prime monthly fee. So of course, it's much cheaper because at this stage TikTok as a platform has much less to offer. Apparently, this membership carries free shipping, discounts, and coupons. Despite, I would say, the way to compete to Amazon is still long, I see this news as a clear step of TikTok into the unknown in a way. What do you think, Pablo?
So I mean, I believe that's the right move. And even though this is still a testing phase, this is a beta testing that they are doing only with some shoppers and only in the US, which is their most mature market, Western world. One thing that is happening, that is a fact, and most of the sellers and brands here will know that is TikTok is mostly used as part of the funnel within the awareness and consideration phases, but most of the people still goes to Amazon to close. It's a fact. Or the DTC shop, no? The direct-to-consumer shop, the direct brand shop. So that's a fact. Now, if TikTok wants to be the closure part of the funnel, it needs to incentivize shoppers to buy, and not only to buy once because of impulse they saw this influencer talking this, but to normally go there for shopping, to normally go there for not only discovery but also shopping or searching for products, and they are doing big efforts there. So it makes total sense that they try to incentivize loyalty through the subscription, where you are getting free shipping plus loyalty, no? So because one thing that Amazon did great over the last 20 years, it's that people trust on Amazon. I mean, you have your bank details, your card details there. They know what you bought last times. I mean, you go there.
Multiple shipping locations. They can basically deliver inside your home. They can do. I mean,
they know everything about you. So they have been doing all this tough work, and this took them years. So now TikTok has much less time if they want to compete, but they are going towards that direction, no? Which makes sense. They do not have Prime Video, Prime Music, and several other of the Prime membership benefits, but they have free shipping. They could have discounts. We know that TikTok Shop is helping a lot sellers and new brands with big discounts over products that they are funding it.
Yeah.
So maybe they are transitioning it now to a model of, okay, I'm funding less of these discounts, but only for the shoppers that are basically subscribed to my membership program.
Yeah, I mean, a smart move from TikTok would be to invest in the shoppers that they see they are, consistently buying across different categories and stuff, and banking on them and trying to find ways to keep them even more loyal, not only in terms of hours spent on the platform, but rather on dollars spent in TikTok Shop. And I believe this news paired with the recent news I was reading the other day of the some category extensions that TikTok got in the UK, where they can start now to sell wine and spirits, which was a category that was forbidden because TikTok was born as a social media weed almost a decade ago, I would say, like few years ago, with the majority of its public coming from extremely young people. I believe clearly TikTok wants to be a giant, not only in the entertainment and media industry, but also in the pure e-commerce world. It's doing it one step at a time. As you said earlier, Amazon took years to build this reputation with customers. TikTok, as it happened for any other steps, it's trying to do these steps much faster. I think in terms of convenience, there's a long way to go. They did some mistakes, in my personal opinion, a few months ago, about when they were forcing brands to move fully into fulfilled by TikTok model, then they reverted it. So I think they're doing many things at the same time, which is good. I mean, moving is the way to go in this world.
So I'm trying to get myself a little bit more strategic. I believe TikTok has a big challenge. That is, TikTok is now receiving a lot of buzz from brands for the last couple of years. Mostly online native brands jump in, and then let's say a big percentage of them start to have success. They more or less crack the code. All these affiliate markets start to raise. And now we are in year 2 for Europe, year 3 for the US, where the big brands are jumping in. Now, one hard fact of TikTok Shop is that nobody or almost nobody is able to make it profitable as a channel by itself.
Yeah.
Okay? All of the brands that we talk with about TikTok Shop are talking you about, okay, no, TikTok Shop is great as an entrance of the funnel, but then I have a lot of halo effect into Amazon. We have tried that ourselves, and we can say it's true. So that is true, but as a channel itself, it needs to become profitable one day. Okay, so now a lot of this unprofitability or a lot of these discounts on products are being funded by TikTok. So they are trying to earn customers, earn the customer loyalty, make more customers to purchase. Now, they need to capture them and retain them, because all this massive investment, it won't be sustainable for TikTok themselves, and it won't be sustainable for brands if there are no more shoppers and no more profitability. So selling only on discounts, I mean, it's easier than selling full price, right? So, I mean, TikTok is probably considering that more mid and long-term view, and these subscription membership programs, it makes sense to make people loyal, and hopefully one day to make this platform profitable by itself.
On its own. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because I mean, again, they need to compensate their lacks in terms of convenience. I mean, delivery time, delivery rate, and so on. So, I mean, I think discount today is the only way to go. As you said earlier, to new brands, especially to big brands, they're offering self-funded, strong discounts. I think this program makes a lot of sense. Of course, it's a test, US only, selected pools of customers, but I wouldn't be surprised if they roll it out broadly rather soon, because I think it makes sense. First, so I think till a few months ago, they had they had an opportunity on selection. I think now all of the brands, even the ones that were skeptical a year ago, now they are jumping into the opportunity. So now that selection is being there, I think it's the right time to offer a Prime membership, especially if it's rather cheap as they're testing it out. So I'm happy to see that they're not asking for $50, because I guess nobody would.
I remember the way of Amazon entering new markets, the subscription when they first entered in Spain for Prime membership many years ago already, it was 29 euros.
Yeah, in Italy as well. I remember like something cheap, between 20 and 30 euros. And I remember talking with a friend in the US, and it was I was like, what
100 or
the
so,
hell?
yeah.
Is it crazy? Like it was like 80% less than what it was in the US back then.
So we do love TikTok Shop to be a big contender for Amazon. We do love these movements on the market. That's good for the business. That's fun. That's the part of the dynamism of this channel. We love that. We also love, and we mentioned it previous weeks, that JoyBuy, meaning JD.com China, is landing into Europe with JoyBuy.com.
Yeah.
I mean, fingers crossed for having a third contender here. It's going to be much more fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. Being Italian, living now back in my beautiful country, I feel Italy more than any other countries in Europe needs a real contender to Amazon. So I'm very excited about these two Chinese giants to break into the peninsula and starting a serious peaceful fight with Amazon.
One of the things that I want to comment, probably to pick it up for next week. I heard the news that TikTok Shop is now starting to accept virtual products, which means services mostly. So we should investigate into that. That is very interesting, and that can be a big differentiation element from Amazon. Yeah. And that perfectly sticks into their business model, right? So it's about influencing, it's about talking about products or services. It should be same.
Yeah. I mean, I read something about that. By the way, I landed into this news following a travel like backpacking travel creator that was mentioning. I mean, was very excited about this opportunity. So I think that would be an interesting point of difference and an amazing opportunity both for TikTok, but also for their beloved creators, which are actually
we'll investigate a bit about this, and we will bring that to our audience.
Sure.
Next week. Luca, another idea is, today is 28th of July, 2026. Yesterday, the new rules about the titles on Amazon started, and we have been tracking them. And
day zero.
We see a lot of moves, but we want to wait 2 or 3 more days.
Yeah.
But we will be bringing to our audience all that we are learning, everything, how it works, how does it look, and what are our best recommendations for you to improve and get adapted to this new rule of Amazon of titles, right?
Yeah, give us a few more days to come out with the first, fresh outcome and initial learnings, and we'll be here talking it next week for sure.
Okay, Luca, great summary, great piece of news, great debate, love it. See you next week then. Yeah, it was great to catch up. See you all next week. Ciao. Ciao.